Okay, well, summer is officially over now. Today's October 1st. We just had our first big rainstorm of the fall. Perfect time to get back on the excavator project. Unfortunately, I lost like the second half of my summer finishing that treehouse project. It took a lot longer than I was expecting, but it's done and we're ready to get back to this. So I'm not quite sure what the plan for this video is yet. I have a basic idea, but I'm sure the video title or whatever will tell you. Even though it's October today, I do have a lot of older footage from June or July where I was working underneath this machine. After I had done that, then in the video that you saw, the previous video, I had gotten all the cylinders rebuilt and installed. We're gonna go ahead and start with that old footage of rehosing the drive motors, and then we're gonna jump back and get right back to work. So we finished out the last video by getting all this installed and all the hoses. So all this is going into the swivel joint right here. But when you come up underneath here, you'll see nothing's hooked up here, and so we got to run new lines. There's 4 lines on each side to each drive motor. There's the 2 main lines, and then there's this is, I think, the high-low speed solenoid. Runs off of this, and then this right here is the case drain for the motor. So pretty self-explanatory. But the one problem here, well, there's a couple problems. One, there's a ton of dirt that I need to clean out. And then when I went and bought hose, I bought -12 hose because these are all -12 fittings. But what I didn't realize is, yes, these are -12 fittings, but this is -10 hose, and I don't know if the -12 is going to fit. So first step here, we're just going to clean all this out, and then I already made one hose up, and I'm going to try to run it through here and just kind of see what happens. Any mice in here? Probably. There's actually, oh boy. Okay, let's just, okay. There's actually, it looks like we might be okay. There's a lot of space through there. I guess we'll have to see where that goes. I think it just comes out over on that side. Comes through there. That one's gonna be a little bit tighter, but I think that'll still be okay. Looks like that grommet's on its way out. Actually starting over on this side, because I've already taken one hose out, that one right there. A little bit tight. Oh yeah. The end of this line's been open forever. I'm surprised there wasn't any water in that. That fluid actually looks pretty good. Water probably all settled in the motor. It's loose. Oh, joking. I wonder, is there a drain on the bottom where I can drain out any water? That would be handy. You know, I think I'm going to actually tighten these pretty good, because I might come in and once I get these hoses out, I'll come in and pressure wash everything in here really good. You know, if you look under there, there's a couple bolts that might serve as drains here. I might have to look through the manual and see. The hope here is I don't have to rebuild these motors. But to take this motor out and rebuild it, you have to break the track. You have to do a lot of work. So it's not something I can do right now anyways. The machine's kind of operational. So we'll just hope for the best for now. Nothing in there. That one's empty. That one's got stuff in it. A little bit of water in there. You can see that. Oof. Inside of that fitting doesn't look the best. A lot of junk in there. We'll just pretend we didn't see that for now. By the way, all 4 of these drive hoses are these Bridgestone ones, all replaced at the same time. And the date code, if I'm reading it right, it's 2010. Which they're all in actually pretty good shape, all things considered. Oh, that went right in my eye. Okay, that should just slide out now. Okay. You probably didn't see that, but there's a mouse living in there because it ran out. Let's see if we can scare it out of here. Okay, so if I pull on this, let's see if we can scare it. Or it's gonna shoot out of here in my face, one of the two. Oh, there it goes. There we go. What? A little splash shield here for pressure washing. Okay, I kind of alluded to this earlier, but I want to try to drain whatever goo is in these motors out before I, run the engine and all that stuff. And I counted no less than 7 plugs underneath this thing. And I looked in the manual, well, maybe I'll throw it up on the screen here, but there is no less than 6 out of 7 of these plugs are, what would you call this, booby trapped? Where it's going to shoot a spring and a ball or some kind of valve or some other doohickey out if you open it too much. So we're going to start with this single one that isn't booby trapped, and then we'll move our way on from there. Just crack the other ones open. We can take this one all the way out, and hopefully it will drain any junk out of this thing. There we go. Something we want to be, there it is. I see it coming out here. What comes out? Oh, yeah, that's water. That's pure water. Well, that's why we're here, I guess. Oh, yeah, out of water. I don't see any particles of rust suspended in that water stuff though. Okay, well, you see how fast that plug popped out though? That's why I don't want to run the rest of these out, because it's gonna just shoot those springs out, and then we're gonna have a problem, because then you get dirt when you try to put them back in. It's just not worth it. Is this magnetic? No, it's just a bunch of dirt in there. I think it's magnetic. Nope. Okay. I'll hold you up here so you can see. This is not helpful. Oh, here it comes. Ready? Water, 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 water. And we're into fluid. And really not that much water, I mean, to be honest. For some reason, there's a lot less fluid in this one than the other one. Let's wipe that off. Yeah, so no rust or anything. Not that bad. By the way, you look at the serial number on there, 6340, and then you go over to this other one, 6341. We got consecutive numbers. There's an elephant on my chest. Okay, so these grommets actually aren't as bad as I thought they were. Like, I saw all this, but this is missing on purpose because there's no ridge right here for this to go around. So those are cut off by purpose, obviously. So let's go ahead and put these back in. Actually, I haven't looked in here since I pressure washed. There's still a bunch of dirt in here. Get this one in. I'll tell you what, the mice are gonna love this once it's all back together. There's nothing really for them to chew in here, but they'll appreciate it. First two lines to feed in here. See how hard this is going to be. Probably important to cap the ends of these. It's going to be shoveling through the dirt. Yep, one. Where's the other one? And actually, okay. First -12 hose. Ow. That way. It's going to be tight, but I think this is going to work. Oh, I feel it. This last one might be difficult, that's for sure. There we go. Okay. Well, before we hook anything up, maybe we should get the next one on. Okay, well, good news. Everything fit. So it's packed in there. There's not much space, but it's all in there. The hose protection's all in there. Yeah, well, hopefully you can see what's going on here. I can't, but maybe you can. Let's see. Okay. Yep. Okay, so I think this one goes on top, but oh my gosh, we're gonna have a, well, maybe not. No, actually, that's not too bad. Oh. Okay, I'm probably gonna have to get safety goggles here. Can you see any of this? Oh, like that? Oh, yeah, I guess that was it. Oh. Oh, I'm really glad I got safety goggles. Stuff's dropping. Oh, yeah. We got it. Piece of cake. Wait a second. Is this one supposed to be the top one? I'm looking over at the drive motor and it's, you see that turning when I do that? These are actually very helpful diagrams because they number the hoses on both ends. So to me it looks like 00 is the top hose and 01 is the bottom one. And then when you come over here, 00 is the top hose in the center joint, and then 01 is the bottom one, which is what I was thinking, so I was right. Somehow I got the hoses mixed up though. So let me fix that real quick and we'll be on our way. Okay, I got them both on. Really not that, I mean, it was not easy, but it was also not super hard. So there's a case drain here, and I think I might hold off on putting this on until I get the other side because I don't know, originally, I'll have to look at some pictures or whatever. Originally, if this was coming through these two lines to connect there, but what I'm thinking is I clock it maybe this way. Well, no, it'd have to be this way. And then run this line through here. And then if I make the line on this side a little bit longer, then it can kind of sweep around, because connecting it in here in between these two like lines is just not ideal. You can see here it's touching. I mean, that'll eventually wear. So, and this is easily clockable. You just loosen this nut and then this will turn and then you tighten it back up. Okay, I got those hoses run up. We got everything on here now. There we go. Okay, leave that loose. I believe green. It really doesn't matter, right? This is just a drain, so you can go either way. Let's see. That's there. Okay. Well, actually a little bit of hose protection on here, unfortunately, so let me get that on. This side's fine. It's all cleared. I've had a tarp over this thing most of the summer just to keep the sun off of all the hoses and all that. Let's see if any animals have moved into this. Now, fortunately, there are some stray cats in the area, and I think they've been keeping the rodent population down. So if I was a mouse, I'd be chewing this stuff up, which all looks untouched. And I'd be building my house back in here, which I'm not seeing anything. So these are all the old pipings for the cylinders. I think I remember what goes where, but I have pictures. It's not that hard. So I'm going to spend probably the rest of the evening tonight cleaning these up, making sure there's no spiders or whatever inside of them. Yeah. Kind of guessing on this one. It's not a O-ring face. Jeez. You might be wondering why I didn't put these pipes and braces on before I put the cylinders on. That would have been smart, wouldn't have? I had this pretty taped up because of the rain. It's going to be covered in junk. Okay, I'm assuming this goes this way. This reminds me, I still have to torque the cylinders down. I guess I'll do that in this video. Yeah, definitely dirty in there, huh? Yeah, this guy. Okay. Okay. Guess we have a little bit of fudge here. I'll just line it up with the original, exactly with the original paint marks. That should be. Check this out. I just noticed this on the bucket piping. I mean, obviously there's some wire holding it together and it's bent, which I'll have to fix that. But on this side, let me get some light on here. Hold on. It appears as if they've put, I don't know if that's RTV or some kind of sticky stuff on here. So hopefully that doesn't mean this is scratched or bent or something. Is that right? Yeah. still need to get new pins. Of course, having these pipes here will make that a little bit more difficult, but oh, is this painted? They even painted it. Well, that's worth the extra money right there. Look at that. That's the factory Hitachi color. Well, for some reason, this pipe was really causing me trouble, partially because it had the baling wire around it. This was missing, and I thought it was all bent because of that. Like, I thought it had been damaged, but this bend is intentional because it's the only way you're going to clear. If it's straight, you're going to be hitting this. The one on the other side is the same. So I think what had happened is, for whatever reason, this little clamp had fallen out. And then since this thing was sitting here vibrating, shaking around, getting hit by stuff, that's why it was leaking down there. That's why they had RTV and stuff down here. It's just a bunch of terrible fixes in a row. So now that we actually have a clamp in here, this thing is nice and secure. Hopefully this is not going to leak and there's not going to be any other issues with it. All right, next thing to do before I forget, I got to torque all of the bolts on these cylinders. So according to the manual, boom and bucket are 200 foot-pounds, and the arm ones are 275. They're both 14 millimeter bolts. Let's see if we can do this without scratching the chrome. Ooh. Is that this popping, or is that the... Can't tell what's going on there. I think that's the wrench, but that does not sound right. Is this thing broken? Okay, that sounds right. That is not... I can't... This does not seem right. What's going on? It's working there, but then it doesn't work. Pittsburgh Tools has let me down. New torque wrench here. Look at that. These are probably all way over torque now. Yep. You guys probably are not going to believe me when I tell you this, but this is not the first or even the second time that a Harbor Freight torque wrench has let me down. Okay, so the original plan was to run the hard lines from the valve body up to the cylinders and do the rest of the hoses, but I think it's going to make more sense to do something else first. And that is fill the tank with hydraulic fluid and start doing a little bit of the bleeding. So to start that, we need to run the line from here to the bottom of the hydraulic tank. Okay, so this is the old suction hose. There's two sections with this elbow. I got some new suction hose. I'm not 100% sure this is the right diameter. This is a 3-inch diameter suction hose. It has like the little spiral in there, but so any dirt in this pipe probably goes right into the pump when it starts. So it's probably a good idea to keep this stuff pretty clean. Oh, that goes on way too easy. Is this going to be, you see these aren't even big. These are too big. So I think the other hose was 75 millimeter, which I cannot find anywhere. I did find, this is 2 3/4, which is pretty close. But this is not suction hose, this is just coolant hose, which, I mean, it would be okay with the fluid, but it would collapse. Although this run is so short, it might be okay. All right, well, if you see all that smoke in here, I got some updates. So I cut the original suction hose in half just to see what it was made out of. And there's no metal in here, this is just thick rubber. It is, I mean, it's a little bit stiff, but it's not like super stiff. It's nowhere near what this is. And it's, you know, it's only a little bit stiffer than this coolant hose. So I think I'm just going to use the coolant hose, and the diameter of this is almost exactly what this coolant hose is. It's 2 3/4. So the 3-inch is definitely too big. Okay. Oh, that helped. Oh, that definitely helps. Big time. Didn't even get it that hot. Nope. There we go. Nope. Yep. Got it. Now, once again, this does say coolant hose. It's a nitrile rubber, so it should be good with hydraulic fluid. Really, it's just the wall thickness. That's the only concern. But like I said, I cannot find anything that's 2 3/4 that's a thick wall thickness or a suction pipe. Hopefully, it's been like a year since I put this in here, so hopefully it hasn't accumulated a bunch of rust. Oh, looks really good. Okay. All right, now for that one. Fluid in the bottom, that's a good sign. I mean, it's hydraulic fluid, not water. Let's do this one first. Let's see. Put that on. That on. Let's go. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think I got this one. Let me reheat this one. It's a little bit of a flame kiss. This is going to be difficult. That's what I needed. Oh, I think I got it. Come on. Yes. It's on there. Call that good. Yep. It's all in there. So might as well figure this out. This is the original clamp that holds the main pressure hose. and it's the rubber's kind of worn out on it. So this is the problem here. This rubber's all gone. So I got this clamp. I think this is the right size. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's perfect. So there's a box elder beetle in there. We just need a way to mount this onto here. Because unfortunately these mount holes aren't the same. Okay, so I think this is galvanized, so I ground off the whole area where it's going to be welded, and I'm just going to kind of side saddle it to the original mount. I think there's enough space to do this. Okay, well, if you want to be smart when you do this, it's customary to throw a bolt into these holes here so it doesn't get full of slag. All right. So this needs to go. Now, I never understood why this hose was supposed to be coming up. Like, it was like that originally, and that's how it's shown in the manual. But I'm pretty sure it's just so you can reach these fasteners, especially this one right here. And that clamp's holding it on pretty good there. We still need to tighten the other side right there and make sure we're not going to be hitting right there on the frame. Looks a little bit close. Okay, it's run way better now. The trick is to get that one sideways so you can get a tool in there to tighten those Allen bolts. And then that gets you a nice clearance over everything. And then you tighten that one. And then with whatever slack's left over, then you pull this one up and tighten that. So this is pretty much exactly how it was before. I looked at some old pictures, and it's not going to touch anything. Pretty secure. Okay, a couple pieces of good news here. Number one, I just got this back from warranty repair. Unfortunately, all my batteries are kind of drained, so we'll see how well this works. Not a good sign. The second piece of good news, if you saw the video where I cleaned up this tank and painted it and flushed it out and all that, you'll know that it was missing. There's a bypass valve that goes on top of the filter here. So this tank and this machine had been run without a hydraulic filter and without a pilot filter. And whatever reason, they pulled all of it out and they didn't put there's a bypass valve that goes on top of it with a spring. So all the filtering of the hydraulic system is done via return. It comes in through these lines here after coming through the pump housing or whatever. And it comes through the return and then it gets filtered. And the purpose of that valve that goes on top is in case this filter gets clogged, I believe it lifts open so that the fluid can get in, so it's not, overflowing or whatever. Anyways, if you saw that video, a new valve was like $500 from Deere, and I actually contacted Deere and it's obsolete. They didn't have any in stock. So fortunately, they had one at the scrapyard. I actually have some footage of me pulling it out of the machine at the scrapyard. So anyway, here they are. The spring goes here. Let's hope this fits. Jeez, that was off a -3 machine. This is a -2. The O-ring of the filter should go around this thing. So this should just hopefully Come on. There we go. Nice tight seal. There we go. It goes there. You can see the indent of where the spring used to go. This was actually kind of a big worry because I called around, I could not find one anywhere. I was just hoping they had one at the scrapyard. $8 billion box elder beetles hiding in here. They're all over this place. I just don't want them to jump into the tank when I'm pouring fluid. Look at this. Whoa. Yeah, they're everywhere. Still clean, no rust. All right, I'm filling this up with, Chevron name brand, AW46. I believe that's what the manual calls for. And I think the machine is supposed to take 35 gallons, not including the thumb. So I got 40, that should be plenty. I'm just gonna start with a few gallons here to make sure nothing leaks. It takes about a gallon to get just over the lip of the intake, so. All right, well, it's been about 5 minutes. Nothing's leaked yet, but we'll give it a little bit more time just because it's a lot harder to put the fluid back in the bucket than out of the, well, you know what I mean. Anyway, let's talk about bleeding the pump because that's the next thing we're gonna do. We wanna get all of the air out of the pump as much as possible. So I believe there's a bleeding screw on top. We're gonna test that out in a little bit. But I think for that to work, you need the level of the tank to be like basically higher than the pump. The higher the better probably because we're gonna be, it's like gravity bleeding pretty much, right? So we're gonna try to aim to fill the tank up to about here. And that's well past the pump height. All right, well I put 20 gallons in and it filled it up that high. You can see it between the two red marks there. I'm glad I stopped when I did because, well, the good news is that there's no leaks. There's nothing's leaking. So like nothing's in here. I was actually really worried about the fitting that goes in right there. But that ain't leaking, and it's all smooth sailing up into the pump. But I'm really glad I stopped when I did because if you look at that height, like look right in the center of this bracket right here, that's pretty much where it's at. Okay, so we're on the other side of the machine here. That right there is the bracket, and if you look at the center spot, it's just a little bit above this steel pipe coming out, which is very important because that steel pipe goes into the valve block. So the valve block should be empty right now. There shouldn't be any fluid going into it, which is good because this pipe coming out of it goes down, way down, and it goes to the hydraulic oil cooler. So that's a problem because it would just be dumping fluid out if I filled it too high. The bottom pipe coming out of the tank right there goes to here, which is the either the inlet or the outlet for the oil cooler. But this right here is way above that fluid level, so that's not going to be a problem. Anyway, the original plan for this video was to bleed not only the pump, but the swing device and the two drive motors. But to do that, what I was going to do is I was going to take this whole spool cover off and pull the spools out and then just dump fluid in and just gravity bleed everything. These three circuits are the things that I need to bleed. But I think if I do that, it's gonna drop fluid into the cooler line, which is the one that's really low. We're gonna have to install the oil cooler, but before we do that, we're gonna have to install the radiator because that goes in behind it. So I don't know what I'm gonna do here. All right, well, I did a little bit of research and looking at stuff, and what I found is that the radiator needs to go in first. I think it'll just make things easier in the long run, even though it's not what I wanna do right now. But the other thing is the radiator bolts into some supports which are part of the like internal framework, all these frames that go in the machine. So this here is the air filter, and then this thing's really heavy, by the way. It's like, ugh. And then on this side, this is where the radiator bolts to, and the oil cooler. I mean, this is all bolted together, so I think I can just bolt in this side of the frame for now, and then we'll have to get to this other side later. But I don't want to get into this whole thing. I mean, this is a whole nother can of worms. But I think we need to get this cleaned up and into the machine. Oh boy. Ow. Just clean this up. Is this just held in place by... There we go. Does the air inlet go through here? I don't think so. No, it doesn't. Oh yeah, it does. Oh, so this is the unfiltered side goes through here. Okay. Maybe we can take this off then. Okay. I think this got bent when the tree fell on it. See how it's not 90 degrees? I think it's probably supposed to be 90 degrees. And then this bracket also bent. And I think all of this is from when the tree fell on it, it hit the radiator and the oil cooler, and it bent all of this stuff. Like this is like buckled. So I think we're going to want to fix this. Probably be a good idea. Just 2 pieces. Yeah, probably can just reuse that. While this is all taken apart and light and manageable, let me see if I can figure out where this stuff goes. Oh, does this must go like this. This must go here? That doesn't make sense. Where does this stuff attach? Okay, so this piece is what I was just playing with. That bolts into the frame. It looks like it bolts to this piece, which bolts to this frame. So I guess I need those pieces too. Let me see if I can find them. They're probably also bent. This is turning into a disaster. Okay, I found this piece, which I'm pretty sure is this piece. And then here it's bolted to a frame. I think this still has the frame attached to it right here. And while we're at it, I mean, we're kind of into it now. I mean, these 3 frames right here are the only remaining frames that go on the machine. So while we're at it, let's just clean these up. There's a fair amount of straightening that needs to happen on all this junk. Look at, I mean, this one's really bad. So there's a bunch of foam residue here that the pressure washer doesn't take off. I had the same problem on the counterweight. I'm just going to put this shop rag on here and then dump acetone on it and let it soak for a little bit. first thing to bend. I don't know if you can tell. This looks a little bit bent. And I actually have a correct tip here. This is a rosebud tip. Should make it heat up a lot faster. That's probably way too much heat. Let's give that a shot. No, not good enough. I think I'm heating the wrong part though. I need to be heating right behind this weld. I need to hammer this. Let's see. That's actually working. Okay, well, it's better than it was. I guess we give that a shot. All right, now we got this piece, which is a little bit bent on top. Find a place to grab onto this. Since this is nice and thin, where do I put my wrench? Oh, there's my wrench. All right, well, I thought I had this panel really straight, and this corner is pretty good, but once it cooled off, it popped. Like, you can do that. I think that's gonna be okay though. We can just, I think once it gets in place, it'll kind of figure itself out. This is all a lot nicer though. I was actually worried about this because this had like a compound bend in it, but I got that all out. It's nice and smooth here. And like I said, I think this is just it's gonna take care of itself once they bolt it in. We'll see. You can always bend it again. All right, so just this angle iron frame here, that's kind of bent. I don't know if you can tell. Okay. Now the redder you get it, the easier it is to bend. Obviously. In fact, I think I might just hammer it. That looks... There we go. Okay. I was actually kind of worried about doing this one, but you get this hot enough, it bends really easy, this angle iron. It's not really a thick steel. All right, well, in case you couldn't tell, it's gonna be a lot of labor to get all those panels and supports bent back into shape, cleaned up, primed, painted, all that kind of stuff. So here's the deal. I've been wanting to have shorter videos for a while. The longer videos I've been doing, I'm always dreading editing them and they take forever to do. So the next few videos we'll just do a shorter format like this. I think a lot of people are more used to that. Anyway, in the next video, hopefully we'll just get those supports installed and then we can continue on with the pump, priming everything and re-hosing it. So my goal at the beginning of the summer was to have this entire machine, all the hydraulic lines reinstalled. But it just turned out to be like all these other things you have to do first. Just for an example, just to finish hosing up the cylinders, there's all the hard lines that are right on top of the valve body, but I didn't want to install those until I, bled all the air out of the system. I couldn't do that until I filled up the hydraulic tank. And then at that point I figured out I had to have the radiator and the oil cooler installed, and then to have that installed I had to have all the body panels installed. So I mean, it's just kind of like you got to find out where to start. Hopefully I make a little bit more progress in the next video. It was a little bit frustrating on this one. Anyway, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. The next video is probably gonna be a lot quicker because like I said, I'm gonna just do shorter videos for a while and see how it works out. So catch you on the next one, guys.